What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Tactical Foul. I'm Kyle Grew. Today, we're here with a guest. Those might be, a lot of you may be familiar with him, and if you're not, you should be. And I promise after this episode, you definitely will be. He is the manager of Stortford Swifts Football Club, which is located in Bishop Stortford. That was a lesson that I had to learn before this. I'll be honest, didn't hear about it before, but now I know, and I'll definitely look it up. And you can also catch him every Saturday on Cove's Grassroots Football Show, or Grassroots Show, part of Roots TV, which is streamed on YouTube. You'll find different videos. Go watch those videos. There's a lot of great content, a lot of great guests, just a lot of awesome stuff for sure. Please welcome Billy Cove.
Hi Carl, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad yourself.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. Thanks for inviting me on.
Oh,
Seen you a few guests on lately that I'm in the same sort of circles with, so it's good to get on.
yo, absolutely. And we talk about it every week, every time I have a guest on, and I don't really care. It's people are probably like, "Ah, you said this already," but it's just true. Like, I am in the United States. I have no connection to really you or, like you said, like the guests that I've had on, the guests
Yeah,
that you've had on your show as well. But here we are, because Twitter, because of social media, all these things. So it's really cool. I'm really happy to have you on. Like I said, I really like the work that you're doing with Roots TV and that stuff, and so it was a no brainer. Wanted to have you on. Kind of, if nothing else, pick your brain and let everybody maybe over this way on my side of the pond kind of get to know you a little bit as well.
okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate the feedback for the grassroots show. Yeah, me and Clinton have got we're doing all right on that at the moment. We're having a lot of fun, getting a lot of nice guests on, having giving the audience a few good stories that maybe they've been sort of dying to tell. They only usually get told in the clubhouse in the bar after the game. It's nice to give them the platform and start telling everyone what goes on. Really,
No, absolutely. And typically, I would start this by let's talk about your past. But I think while we're on it, I think I do want to hear about the grassroots and just kind of how that got started, especially like how you got started in it and that kind of thing.
well, it was pretty much like this. Really, I followed Roots TV for a while on Instagram and Twitter. Clinton Ford does an amazing job. He's an amazing guy, and he sort of asked me if I wanted to come on and sort of tell my story, which was great. I was honoured to go on there and speak about it. And it went down really well. It went down well on Twitter. We got a lot of views, a lot of comments, a lot of interaction, which is pretty much what it's all about.
Right.
Um, so Clint just he phoned me up one day and said, "Look, I think you need to do your own show. I think it'd be popular. I think you're so popular on Twitter and we'll get it on YouTube and just start up your own show." So we done like a little pilot. We done an hour's test to see how it sort of went down. And it was good. It was really good. We had a lot of good feedback, positive feedback. And from there, it's just gone from strength to strength, really. We're getting more and more viewers every week. Um, so yeah, so obviously I'm honoured to do it with Clinton, but sort of like the ultimate aim is to try and get as many subscribers to Clinton's Roots TV channel on
Yeah.
YouTube and just get him start getting him rewarded for the work he does because that guy works so hard. And I see it. He does it daily, and I see it. I just see it on a Saturday night for a couple of hours, and I'm so nervous before I come on, and he puts me at ease. It's like a good double act we've got going. But we've had some really good guests. We've had some guests from the professional game, men and women's. We've got some good guests lined up this week. We had Sergio Torres on 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 last Saturday. If you want to go and check out his show, if you don't know who he is, there's a show currently available on Amazon Prime now called The Unknown Torres, which is his life story, and well, it's not his full life story, but his journey into the professional game, which was it's an amazing story. So I highly recommend that, and we was honoured to have him on this Saturday. So that's how it all started, really.
Nice. Um, so speaking of kind of the guests and whatnot, is there any guests for you that have kind of just stood out from the rest? That you know, obviously you're talking about Torres and different things like that, but just
Yeah.
just a guest for you that's kind of stood out for you.
I think when we had Darren Persson, that was really good. You know, he's played in a cup final at Wembley against Liverpool. Scored a penalty in the last few minutes. You know, it's just and I played with him when we was younger,
Okay.
so we played when we was younger against each other. And he's just a really nice guy, you know. And the stories he can tell stories for days. So it was really good to hear him, to see him so relaxed and just telling these stories from the professional game that the viewer would not have heard before.
Yeah,
You know,
for
so I
sure.
think he was an amazing guest. But they're all amazing. You know, we're honoured to get anyone
Oh,
on. It doesn't matter who they
of
are.
course.
So we try and it's obviously called the grassroots show. So we do try and get people that have had an element of grassroots somewhere in their career.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so that's it really. I think Darren, but the guests are just going from strength to strength. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a bit.
of course, of course. I mean, it's like your kids. You don't have favorites, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no, and I agree. You know, like we have guests, and like some just kind of stick out for you. But no, I've had all kinds of different guests, and they're all great in their own, like all different ways. And so, no, I totally agree with that. Um,
we had my mate on. Sorry to interrupt. We had my mate
go
on
for it.
last week as well. Delroy. I don't know if you saw that one. Delroy Preddy, the goalkeeper.
Okay, yeah,
And I've known him. I've known Del for like 30 years, and
yeah,
we haven't spoke to each other properly. Obviously, we're on social media together with Facebook friends and
yeah,
whatever. But obviously, our paths went different ways when we sort of when we was about probably 24, and just getting back to talking to him properly, like we are now. It was just like we hadn't been apart. You know, it was just we were just batting off each other and that guy was just unreal. And the energy that he brought to the show as well was great. So he was another amazing guest as well. Another
no,
amazing guest.
that's awesome. And kind of with the guests, and not really about like favorites or anything like that, but like when you do get these guests, and some of them definitely have some high profiles, like does that does that ever like kind of, do you have to like sit back and be like, why are they talking to me? Right? Like that kind of
Ah,
thing.
they think that they were like, why are they talking to me?
Yeah, there you go, there you go. I like that. No, for sure.
They listen. We've moved in similar circles, and football's a very small world in this country, and you get and like some of the pros playing now, at some point, some of the non-league players that are playing now have brushed shoulders with these. Just some have had the opportunities and the breaks that others haven't.
Yeah.
But they still. There's one good thing in football is that when you've played together at a young age, you don't tend to forget them people. Throughout your life, it's a funny old world here, football world. But most of the guests that I've brought on, I know I know personally anyway,
Okay.
so that's helped as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but others we've just met on Twitter, on social media, So it's another thing. Twitter has been amazing. It's been an amazing tool for me for football and just for generally meeting people in football and around football. I think it's an amazing thing. I really like Twitter, and a lot of people will know about that as well.
No, for sure.
I do get a bit of stick.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, you're not, if you're not getting some stick, if you're not getting someone disagreeing with you, you're probably not doing Twitter right at that point, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's
Well,
just
like I say, now and again, I put out that we do the analytics that you can do now on Twitter, and I had nearly 5 million impressions on my account last month, or in the last 28 days. 5 million. That's I'm just really Cove.
right.
For Swifts, and I had like 48,000 profile hits in 28 days. That doesn't happen. It's Twitter is just amazing for that for
Yeah.
networking. It's an amazing networking tool.
No, and it was something that I'll be honest, like I had a Twitter. I didn't really use it
Mm.
all that often up until I started the podcast. And then I just was like, I I kind of like started following. I kind of went on like a little bit of like a following spree, and just like people were following me back, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, like it just kind of like opened this world that is like kind of like coaches and managers and players, like just Twitter, like, and
Yeah,
it's quite a big sphere, honestly. And I was
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I definitely have to tap into this, because like not even just for like guests and things like that, but like there's so much good content in terms of like
yeah.
sessions, like just like different things like that. I was like, oh, this is it. I would be foolish to not tap in, right? Like obviously I do the podcast, but I coach as of my full time job, so it's like I it's a resource, and like and the people are amazing. Really, I have not really met anyone that's just like the kind of will blow you off, no matter what their profile is at this point. I'm sure I'll meet someone that does blow me off, but that's okay. But like for the most part, it's just a lot of people that are.
That sort of terminology is used differently in the UK, so you probably will find a lot of people that blow you off.
You gotta love that, right? Ay, 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 caramba. Um, yeah, fair enough. It is what it is. But yeah, no, no. But I think that it is. I think it's cool, and I think you're absolutely right. I think Twitter, me like kind of just experiencing it has opened up a brand new world for me, and one that I'm
Yeah,
I'm super excited about. Obviously, like you said, like we met through there, just kind of me sending a message, and here we are sitting now having a chat. So
yeah, exactly. It's like it's obviously it's like what LinkedIn is supposed to be used for.
yeah,
The networking, it's on the obviously on the corporate side, but Twitter is a bit more, but the networking side of Twitter is unbelievable, unbelievable.
yeah. And I mean, your Twitter bio really is your resume.
Yeah,
It
pretty
really,
much,
it,
pretty
it
much.
it really is. So you can put everything that you are as a like a coach, or whatever you are, right
Yeah,
in there, and they're like, oh, let's like whatever it is. They can okay, let's check this guy out. That kind of thing. I was telling you
yeah,
before I started this, like my intros are basically based on what people have in their Twitter bio because one, like I in my impression, like that's what people like want other people to
yeah,
know that they're a part of, right? Like so, and like that's kind of again that's their CV, their resume. Um,
yeah.
one question I had, one more for sure on the grassroots show is just like obviously you said that it was just kind of you going on there for a chat, then all of a sudden like, all right, let's start something. What's the impact that it's had on you? Because obviously that's a different. I imagine it's a little bit of a different world than from where you were now.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's opened my eyes to a lot of things really. I have to do a lot of research throughout the week. I got me a little notepad that is full of names and questions and what to ask and what not to ask people. But then again, I see like the work that Clinton does as well for the show, and it's it just gives you a different perspective on people like yourself that do these sort of shows. How much work actually goes into these shows? How much dedication goes into them? And you're not doing it for monetary reasons. You're doing it because it's your passion and you
Yeah,
love it. And some of the podcasts that I've opened my eyes to now because I'm obviously doing one. You sort of like research what ones are around and what ones are sort of similar to yours, and there's some fantastic content out there.
right.
And I'm just happy to be a little part of that, because it's roots to, that's called Cove's grassroots show. Clinton's the man.
Yeah.
Clinton's the guy. So yeah, so it's been good. It hasn't. I haven't had any offers from any Saturday night TV shows yet, but it's still time.
Yet is the key word there, right? Uh, so you kind of talked about like you want to grow it for Clinton and you want to keep growing the channel, but I guess like when you really sit down and think about it, especially I guess the Covey's grassroots show, right? What is the future in your eyes as of right now? Like just for that show, for you on, I guess as like behind or in front of the camera type, that kind of thing.
Do you know what? I love it. I think I don't get. I've had some of my friends come on and they've been so nervous, but in real life they're actually really bubbly and confident people. But then they've come on the show and they've sort of died, and you're like, what's going on? And I feel it. I quite enjoy being on the camera, and just talking to people and sharing experiences. So if there is a future, look, we're 7 or 8 shows in. I'm not saying that we're going to be on Soccer AM next month,
Yeah.
or we're not going to be on the next Soccer AM. We're just enjoying it for what it is, and if it takes us somewhere, then I'm all for that. I'm all for that. I would love to something to come of it. To be recognised as, Cove's grassroots show, and then not just my followers talking about the show, like your followers and
Right.
everyone's followed. People just know Cove's grassroots show. They go to the hashtag, and enjoy then they go on the YouTube, they watch the videos, and it's just I would just love it. I just to get some views and some feedback. That's what it's all about, really. And at the moment, we're getting some positive, so we're riding the wave at the minute.
I love that for sure, and just kind of going where it takes you, and
Yeah,
you're kind
exactly.
of and it's like you said, like it's something you love to do, it's something you're passionate about. So anywhere it
Yeah,
takes you, you're pretty much good with. So and that's awesome.
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Um, so obviously the name of the show is Covey's Grassroots Show. So obviously, and you've talked about it, you try to keep it grassroots. Talk about like I guess your upbringing, especially within grassroots football, and kind of where it's your journey through that, I suppose.
yeah. Well, I started. I was brought up in Islington, which is a town in London. Sorry, a city in London. And I played for a team called Chapel Boys when I was younger. We sort of like we. I know, so I'm going forward one. I played for a team outside of London
Okay.
called Eton Manor. Called Eton Manor. Um, my dad was friends with the manager and a few other dads that their boys played. So we went out and played for them. That was in Barker, still in Essex. So I played for them for a few years. And then when I was like, I think I was maybe 12 or 13, maybe a little bit older, I got scouted by Millwall.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so I went and played for them. I was captain of the schoolboy side at Millwall for a number of years. And then when I got sort of got to like 17, 16, 17, I went back to play for a team in Islington because I left Millwall. I left Millwall because the reason why I left Millwall was because they changed their training nights. So I was from Islington. We had to train in Southwark Park,
Right.
which was, it's not far as the crow flies, but traffic is horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bit of a way to go. And they changed their training nights to a Friday.
Mm.
Um, and my dad had his own fruit and veg business, and Fridays and Saturdays are the busiest times, so he couldn't take me. So they offered to send a car to me to pick me up for training, and my dad tells me all this like that, and I think, what? Why didn't you let them? And my dad was like, no, no, we've had a few offers from other clubs and that, and well, I'm going to take him over Leighton Orient. So that's it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I left Millwall, I went to Leighton Orient. Um, didn't. That's where I met Darren. Well, no, I didn't meet Darren. I met Darren Purse at Eton Manor. The Darren Purse thing was like Eton Manor, Millwall, and Leighton Orient. It's crazy. Um, so yeah, so then I was at Millwall. Then I went back to Islington, played for Chapel Boys. We won everything. We was one of the most successful clubs in Islington. I think we entered 8 competitions one year. We won 7.
Not bad. Not bad.
2 of them was a year above. We was playing in like a year above. So yeah, so we done all right. And then I went into sort of non-league football. I started off at Leighton. They're one of the oldest non-league clubs. Well, they were. Now they're gone.
Right.
They then merged with a team called Walthamstow Pennant. It became Leighton Pennant, so I played for them. And that's pretty much where my non-league career sort of started. Really, not at Leighton Pennant. I scored. I don't know if it's still the case. It may be still the case. I was the second highest goal scorer in their history. Well, actually, the club is no longer now. They're now called Walthamstow. So Leighton Pennant, I probably am still the second highest ever
Yeah.
goal scorer. This is a proud thing to have on my CV.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
So then from there I went to Maidenhead United, who was managed by Alan Devonshire, he's an old England and West Ham legend, like a winger. And speak to any West Ham United fan, and Alan Devonshire's in there, obviously in their best 11 ever.
Right.
So that's the sort of manager, the guy he was. So for him to come knocking on your door and asking you to play for his team was a bit of an honour. So I went and played for him. He said to me he's signing me for me to score the goals. It's going to take Maidenhead up to get promoted, and we did. So so that was good. bad thing about being there was first game of the season. Through when we was doing pre-season, but if you must have pre-season in
Yeah,
America.
of course.
So we done pre-season. I was scoring goals for fun, really enjoying my football. Was beating teams, and then the first game of the season we was playing against my old team who I'd just left, and I got kicked off the ball after about 10 minutes. But I carried on playing. Obviously, my leg was hurting a little bit, but I carried on playing. But after about 70 minutes, I had to come off. I just said, "Look, I can't carry on anymore. It's
Right.
killing me." So I came off, and then as I've got showered and that, my leg was going like really black, like it was just turning black. I was thinking, "What the hell?" So I went to hospital and I broke my leg.
Oh,
I played like 60 minutes with a broken leg. So didn't do it any favours really when I was playing.
no.
So that kept me out for a while, and then came back after that. Scored more goals. We won a lot more games again. Got to the cup final. I scored in the semi-final. That's like 45-yard chip. Chip the keeper from like about 40 yards, 45 yards. It gets the yardage goes up every time I speak about it.
Absolutely. No one here is gonna like dispute it. So
There'll be a video come out soon. It'll be like a 15-yard little miss kick.
Photoshop.
But yeah, so that was against Billericay. So we got through to the final, but unfortunately we lost the final 1-0. But we ended up getting promoted. So it was job done there. 2 weeks into the following season, they sold me. They had an offer coming for me, and they sold me to a team that was a little bit closer to my home. A few of my friends played for them, and the team I was signed for just had a really good FA Cup run. They was on Sky Sports, and
nice.
everyone was buzzing about them. So I went to them. What we won, I'm sure we won a couple of trophies there. Didn't play as well as I could have played there. It was a bit of the environment was a bit different from what I was used to at Maidenhead. Although I'm not saying I was not a part of that environment because I really was. But it didn't help if I wanted to go on and be a professional footballer or anything. It wasn't help. So then after that, I went to a club called East Thurrock, Enfield Town, which these clubs are really close to my heart still. So I was top scorer at East Thurrock, I was top scorer at Enfield Town. So that's and then where did it end? So Enfield Town was my last club, and I just started my own business. I started up my own courier firm.
Okay.
So I couldn't train every night. I couldn't. I wasn't the best trainer anyway. So it was like games on a Tuesday, training on a Thursday, games on a Saturday. So I was saying I can't really come on a Thursday because of work, and it was a bit unfair, to the other players. And so I just called it a day. I just retired and said, I need to support my family. I had a young family then. So I just walked away, and I was out of the game for pretty much probably 8 or 9 years.
Oh wow.
Completely, washed my hands of it. I didn't check results. I didn't follow anyone until I got a phone call. Well, no, there was one of my old mates who I used to play with, called Alan Fenn. He's a manager now. He was going through a tough time with the club that he was at, called Ilford Football Club. If you research them, that's quite an interesting story as well, with Ilford Football Club. So they was going to be slung out of the league for one reason or another. And Alan sort of took the case to Wembley and went in front of the FA and pretty much single-handedly saved the club.
Oh wow.
So he done that and he brought the club back to life. And then he sort of asked me if I wanted to join him and be his assistant. So I was taken aback with it. And it's something I'd never really thought of doing.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be going to the management or coaching side, but I loved it. We've done well. We started off with hardly any players, so we had to build a team from scratch. We finished sort of mid-table. I played a few games in goal for some weird reasons. Like one of our goalkeepers got injured, and the other goalkeeper was suspended, so I was the last resort. um, and then that ended sort of badly. I've said it before on other shows that Fenny, Alan, his name's Fenny. He should have been given the key to the city, for Vilford. He
Right.
should have he should have been an honorary member of that club for life for what he done. And the chairman didn't treat him with the respect that he deserved. And we ended up leaving together. And then I went, and then another old friend got in touch with me called Asa Pamplin, and he was going to be he was manager of Epping Town at the time, and it was a bit of a drop down. It was like 5 divisions below
Oh
what
wow.
Ilford was in. So he sort of phoned. I was at work one day and I got a phone call from Asa. He said, "Look, Bill," he went, "I'm just going to try it. I'm going to chance my luck. Like, what do you think about coming over to Epping?" So I was like, no disrespect, I didn't even know Epping had a football team. I got married in Epping, and I still didn't know they had a football team. And
Fair enough.
I was like, yeah, we'll have a chat and all that. He told me about there's a local businessman that wanted to get involved in football club called Chris Ottaway and his wife Lou. And we went and met. We went a bite to eat, and we met. And Chris and Ace had sold their story to me and said where they wanted to take the club. And I bought into it. It was good. It was exciting. So I said to him, "How many players have we got?" And he said one. So I was like, "Oh, well, okay. Well, we need to go to work then." So I got the little black book out with all the names and players that I'd played with before. I played with or managed at Ilford and
Yep.
or met on Twitter and I knew from Twitter. And I built a team. Built a good coaching staff. I had my mate Terry Harrison with me. He
Okay.
was the first coach who came alongside me. Terry Harrison worked with Cole Davey
Yep. I
and
was gonna say
Scott.
definitely a name I've heard multiple
Yeah, and
times.
Anthony Murray. Yeah, so they know each other. So Terry was with me, and then he brought his mate over with him, Ross Bishop, with him. Emma Stone was our physio. Sarah Holmes. We had like a really close knit team that we built from scratch, and
Yeah.
everyone was. It was like the Mighty Ducks. The film The Mighty Ducks.
Oh
It was just great. Everyone just sort of. It was just like, come play for Evan, come play for Evan, and just selling the dream to everyone. And and we had a really good season. It was a really good. The first season was amazing, to be honest. And we won double promotion. Um, we would have won the. We had a. We There was one point in the season where we won the game 9-2, and one of the players that we played, he shouldn't have played because he was suspended, but the secretary at the time messed it up a little bit.
yeah.
So we played him, and we ended up getting the points deducted. So we was deducted 3 points. So when at the end of the season we lost the league by 2 points. Um, so it was like, oh my god. So we'd done everything that the chairman wanted us to do.
Right.
We went out
For
to
sure.
the league. We was going to win the league. Um, Obviously, a technicality made us come second, but we
Yeah.
got a double promotion. And then we started life 2 leagues up the next season. Um, Pretty much it was change really, because going up 2 divisions, you think to yourself you're going to need players that are capable of playing 2 divisions above,
Yeah.
and me, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done this, but I sort of cut the squad a little bit too much,
Okay.
and I brought in a whole new load of players that was capable of playing that league and some, and but with that it comes a bit of commitment issues. When they're that player of that level,
Yeah.
and they're playing that level, it comes a bit of a it's not taken that seriously for them as well as what it was the previous year. So we came on. We started off the season really well. I think we won our first 8 games on a trot, played 8, won 8, and then the commitment issues started to come in, and we lost a few of our best players, couldn't play a few weeks, and we were struggling to get players in, and it just all sort of went a bit. Was me and the chairman Chris was trying to get the council to buy into to what we were trying to achieve at the club as well. Like, they took a stand. We had Stonnard's Hill is a ground that we played at. It's a pitch in a local park.
Right.
And Epping have played there for years and years and years. And they used to have a stand. They used to have floodlights. It used to be a proper little non-league ground. But over the years, it's slowly dwindled down as the council have taken the stand down and taken the floodlights down. And there was like one corrugated stand left when I took over. And after about 3 weeks, the council took that down as well. And then they promised us that they'd support us with a new stand. They'd support us on our journey of where we want to take the club. Because the town was buzzing. You know, we went from having a football team that nobody knew of and nobody went to watch. So we was getting crowds of like between 50 and 100
That's awesome.
every week game, and that's unheard of in that division. Unheard of. And the town was buzzing. We was after the games, we'd go to the local pub that and we'd plough money behind the bar. So it was helping the economy in the town as well. So it was just a really good time. But the council just pulled everything we asked. They just batted back and like no. And then it got to a point where I was out one day, and the chairman had. I think we both sort of felt like we'd taken the club as far as we could, and we sort of fell out of love with it a bit.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation via text message that should have really been had on the phone or face to face, because I read his messages wrong, he read my messages wrong, and it got into a bit of a heated exchange. Which is sad because we got on so well throughout that first season. It was amazing. We had an amazing friendship throughout that first season. I read these messages like he was asking me to leave, but he didn't want to leave until I left. If you know what I mean, if that makes sense. So I sort of left first, and it happens in this country a lot. I don't know if it happens in the States, but in non-league, especially at the level where I was managing, the players play for the manager. They don't necessarily play for the club. So the manager, they bring in these players, and you try and they build a relationship up with the manager and the coaching staff, rather than the club. And then when the manager leaves, 9 times out of 10, a lot of the players leave with him. And that's what happened at Epping. So I left one night, and I think they had 2 players left over the next 2 days. So they was it was very close to them folding. Luckily, they didn't.
Right.
And they've gone from strength to strength now. Then I had a phone call from one of the managers at Bishop Stortford Swifts, where I am now, just asking me if I'd be interested in, if they had a manager at the time that was going through a bit of a tough time. They hadn't won in 13 games. They was at rock bottom of the league, and they've got probably the best pitch. I know a few people that might watch this will be like arguing, no, they ain't. But we've got the best pitch and facilities probably in the whole of the Olympian League, out of all 5 leagues. This is our badge, by the way, if any of you Americans want to check it out. So they shouldn't be. They can't be at the bottom of the league. That club with them facilities, they can't be at the bottom of the league. They need to be challenging, and that club needs to try and project itself as high as it possibly can. So unfortunately, the guy that was in the job at the time, he was new to management, and a young, early 30s, maybe 30, 31. So I was contacted and said, look, if it carries on and that job become available, would you be interested? So I said, well, yeah, of course I would. But let's discuss that if the club make a decision on that manager. So the following Saturday they played. I think they lost. and then the management team was asked to leave. And then the chairman got in touch with me and said, look, I know you've left Epping. Would you fancy a chat? So I went and had a chat with him, and I liked what he had to say, and I liked the club. I'd never actually been there before ever, and it was lovely. They had it's an amazing setup there, and I liked what the chairman had to say and the secretary, and that's it. I just took the job. The first three games was so we're bottom of the league. Haven't won a game in 13 matches. So my first, second, and third game was against first, second, and fourth in the league. So I was like, mate, what am I doing? So again, I didn't have to rebuild the side. I brought in maybe four or five players that I knew and trusted
Right.
because the core of the side was really good. They just wasn't. They just was going through a bad patch and they just needed to kick up the arse and probably a different voice, you know. Um, so I bought in a friend of mine called Dean Perrett, who was the manager of Harlow Ladies, as my assistant.
Okay.
Emma Stone came with me as physio from Epping. Trevor Grace came in as goalkeeper coach, and Liam Clifton, who was playing for me at Epping and was coach at Epping, came with me as well. So the first game was against, I think, fourth. So we won. We beat them 4-2. So that was good. The second game was against first. Oh my god, we beat them 3-1.
Sound.
And then the third game was against second, and we drew 2-2. So 7 points out of 9 was an amazing, you know, come back. But then COVID hit us.
Yeah.
So that's exactly when COVID hit, and I'm like, oh, what happens now? Like, what's going to happen now? So we worked it out. There was talking about points per game, null and void, you know, and we worked out that even if it was points per game, we would have been safe. So it was great. You know, it was a great feeling that we'd gone in there and turned it around. Only in 3 games, but you know, we turned it around. The place was buzzing again, and then obviously we started this season again. I brought Alan Fenn to the club because Liam left. Dean left eventually because he wanted to concentrate on Harlow Ladies, because Harlow Ladies are doing really good in obviously in the women's game. So I brought in George Young, who's a very, very experienced and very well respected coach in non-league football. His level of coaching is up here.
Right.
So I sort of asked him pretty much as a joke, like, oh, why don't you come over? You might really like it. And I was never expecting him to say yeah. Well, I was expecting him to say yes because he's a nice guy. Like, oh yeah, I'll come over and I'll have a look. So he came over and he just fell in love with it. You know, he hasn't looked back since, and
Awesome.
he stayed with me since. And then I promoted one of our. Obviously, Liam left then, so the night I thought I'd get another coach in. So I got a guy called Saheem in, who was a player for me at Epping in the first promotion season. He was just starting his coaching journey, so I've offered him the chance to come and coach alongside George. And again, we started off all right, but then we went through a bit of a rough patch because we was integrating a new formation. Obviously, George has come in with his different ideas, and his coaching is levels above where we're playing.
Right.
So he hasn't changed. So the players have had to adapt to him rather than him adapt to the players. So it was quite tough at first. We lost a few players because they thought like, why are we having to train like this hard when we're only playing this level?
Right.
You know, so well, because we don't want to stay at this level. We want to be up. We want to progress. And if you want to progress, you need to hit the ground running if you get promoted and be able to play at that level.
Yeah.
And it's just started to take fruition before this second lockdown hit. We had a really good win. Yeah, we had a really good win. And then it just, I was like, oh, really? So it was just like, we get up there and then COVID hits, and you know, but we had lost a few games as well. To be honest, I'm not going to say this season was a jolly up because we'd lost more games this season than I've ever lost. You know, it was like, I think at one point we lost like 5 on the spin, and it was like, gee, I couldn't buy a win. I didn't know where the next win was coming from, and I was worried about my future, to be honest. I was thinking, oh my god. But yeah, the chairman trusted us. He believed in the project that we're trying to implement there, and thankfully so did the players. Yeah, sorry if I've waffled on a bit there, but
no, I love it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And that's where we are now. We're waiting for the season to kick off again. I don't know if it's gonna. I personally think they'll null and void it, and then we'll go again in sort of July, August, which I think is for the best, really.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, it's one of the hardest things is like the uncertainty of everything, right? Is just like not knowing.
Yeah,
You almost, I mean, I would say a lot of people are like, well, we want to play, but I think I think most of those people would probably still feel better if they said, look, season's not going to happen. Like, just prepare for right June, July, or whatever it is.
yeah,
That would probably be easier than just kind of like wondering for months and months and months about what's
yeah,
going to happen for sure. Um,
yeah,
Kind of just want to touch on like a few things. One, obviously, um, clearly a bagsman, just scoring loads of goals in your playing career. Um,
yeah.
do you, with that, when it comes to like now your managerial career, your coaching career, um, what I guess what part of that? Because obviously being a striker and different things, like I think people would probably say that you would think you would lean towards being more of an attacking manager. That's the style of play or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think that has influenced?
It's massively influenced me, and some people will say, reading some of my tweets, like I hate this new style of playing the ball out from the back. Uh, and what I said, I put a tweet out the other day. I said, when I leave a supermarket, when I'm finished in a supermarket, I don't drive around the car park in circles. I head straight for the exit.
That's
And I just think that's, I think that's
a good
that
point.
transfer. Yeah, it transfers into it. Just keeper's got the ball in his hands. Get up the pitch. Let's go. And if you can fight out, but you're getting centre halves now. The goalkeeper's got the ball in his hand, and the centre halves are standing on the goal line, pretty much to the goalkeeper's left and right, waiting for the goalkeeper to play to him. So why? I just don't understand it. I'm like, great, yeah, it looks good, and trying to coach the youngsters how to play and the, the right way. Is it the right way? Is there a right way? I don't think there is a right way of football,
No.
the right way to coach or a right way to play. I just think you play the way the manager and the coach feel. What you say? My experience is the managers that I've played with, I'll bring that into my coaching, into my management. And most of the coaches that I played for were attack minded. And my first season at Epping showed that. Although we had some really good players, we was beating teams like nine. We beat one team 19-0,
All right, well,
and it was,
fair enough.
we was regularly beating teams like 7-3 and 11-2 and 7-5, and you think to yourself, well, yeah, actually, he is a bit gun ho. You can tell this manager is an ex forward. Uh, but I always try and whatever I was coached and managed as a player, because I did play for some really good managers and coaches, and some of the managers that I played for now are in the England setup. They're coaching England players.
Right.
So for me to bring that now to the level of player that I'm managing, I'm just trying to pass it down. I'm not saying I'm a fantastic coach. I've never said I'm a fantastic coach. I've done my badges years ago. I've done a YTS at Arsenal when I was 16.
Yeah.
I was at Arsenal for 3 years, done a youth training scheme there, and we've done all our badges and stuff there. So I've got coaching badges, I've got referees badges, but I've never really like used them, if you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean. I really used them. I've just always played and managed the way I've been managed. So I don't think I've got a unique style. I've just got a bit of everyone I've played for. And I like telling players to just go out there and have fun, express yourself. I mean, if you can't go out on a football pitch and express yourself, enjoy yourself, and have fun, you just can't. You might as well not play.
That's a good point.
It's true. It's because you get people saying, and a lot of different people say it. They'll say, right, the football pitch, where everyone forgets their problems for 90 minutes. But then when it comes to match day, they don't. They go on the pitch and they take their problems with them, and
Yeah.
and then you ask them after, and it's like, oh yeah, it's because of this and because of that. It's like, well, hold on a minute. This is where you're meant to forget all that. This is where you're meant to leave that in the car park. As soon as you come into the change room, you leave all that shit behind, and and you just go out and express yourself. And this is your fun place. This is your happy place.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
go out and express yourself, and that's sort of my sort of style is that really. Don't take it too seriously, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, like when I talk to like the kids that I coach, it's like yes, this is my job. Of course, I take it serious. I love it, and I want you guys to take it serious. But at the end of the day, it is a game. It's supposed
Yeah,
to be fun, and if we like if we can't have fun, like there's no point in doing it. Like
yeah,
there's really not. And so it's like there has to be a line of like where we can take this serious, but there also you can't ever sacrifice for not having fun. It goes the same way, right? Like you can have fun, but like if it's you're supposed to be serious, you can't sacrifice like you can't basically the training session can't be blown off. I keep using that, and obviously it's different there, but it's that's all right. The training session is can't go to complete shit because you're like, I just want to have fun today. It's like, yeah, I want you to have fun, but like we got to make sure that we still are using the training session, using the time correctly. In the same way, it's like, yeah, we want to win, we want to get better, but it's like if we sacrifice fun, there's no point in doing it. There's always got to be that middle, that happy medium, or else there's no point.
you've got to have a happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm a winner. I want to win every
Yeah.
game.
Oh,
Um,
I get that.
I'll play my best 11 at every opportunity.
Right.
Every opportunity, whether you're playing against the bottom of the league team, whether you're playing a team that's in second or first, I'll play my strongest 11 every single week because I want to win. But um, I also know that you've got to have a you got to have a winning mentality
Yeah.
to win. And it's hard to get that. When we was at Epping, we had that in abundance. We had an amazing dressing room, and that's key in football. If you've got a good dressing room, you can go and beat anyone, because if they're together in the changing room, they're going to be together out on the field, and it just goes such a long way. If you're in a changing room, I've had change rooms where people just you got two people sitting over there talking, you
Yeah.
got three over there, you got one just sitting there on his listening to his music, and then I've had other change rooms where you got the music blaring, everyone's buzzing, they're all doing their boots, and everyone's they're sharing the tape, and they're flying the Haribos around, and they're all buzzing, and you can see it, and it's just and when you look back at it, and you think, well, yeah, that change room, we went and done this with that change room,
Right.
and then with this change room, we went on a 5-game losing streak. So you think to yourself, well, this is the change room that we want. This is the change room where I want to. This is the change room I want to create. Um, because that camaraderie is worth 15 points a season
Yeah. And
easily.
it makes me think of like when you're talking about like Epping and like it made me think of and obviously I know they're doing a little bit better now, but made me think of like Chelsea, like last year had a squad that everyone kind of looked at like young, but very like they all kind of grew up together for the most part. Didn't but people are like they're not talented enough, they're too young to do anything, get fourth place, right? And then this year, obviously, we know how much they spent in the transfer market, bring in
Yeah,
absolute, some world class players and whatnot,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they've struggled. And it's like, well, it's something probably has to do with the fact that the dressing room probably just is not as together as it was last year. And like you said,
yeah,
that's 15 points or whatever that you can win each
yeah,
year by just like you look around and every single person in the dressing room is like, yo, these are my guys. I'm gonna absolutely fight to the death for these guys, and like that kind of stuff matters way more.
yeah,
I think it's super underrated how much that stuff matters to have a dressing room that is completely together.
yeah.
It can make
If
up
you
for
see,
some talent.
if you saw the FA Cup one that a non-league side went on, that like Chorley went on this
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they sing the Adele song after the game. That changing room, like that's a manager's dream to
Yeah,
have a change room.
100%.
That sort of camaraderie and team spirit it is a manager's dream, and um, it's very hard that a manager always wants to recruit well. You
Yeah,
always want to recruit well, and I think I think it was Cole Davey done or maybe Anthony Murray done a poll about how on your recruit. What do you use for your recruitment? Is it ability? Is it what was it?
and
Reputation?
I've seen what you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah, yeah,
reputation, character, and I went straight for ability, straight for ability. I went straight in. But then when you look at it and you think to yourself, hold on a minute, that's all. You need all four of them.
Yeah.
You need ability. You need a good reputation. You need character. Um, you need all this. As every single player needs that because that's what makes a player and that's what makes a team member. Um, if you don't have all that, it's very hard for you to fit into a team
Yeah.
that want to win. You've got to have a bit about you. You've got to have a bit of character. You've got to have a good reputation. You can't, and you've got to be, a half decent player to make it in the dressing room. But I say it again, change rooms. You can win and lose games in the change room.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I've definitely I've brought it up on here, but it's like growing up, I was part of a team that had a lot of success. We didn't have a coach that was phenomenal by any means. Didn't know the game, didn't know tactics or whatever. But he had. I mean, this is probably our like 99. Probably like we're young. We're younger, but I mean, we were not playing better style or anything like that. We didn't. It didn't look prettier than anybody else, but we didn't lose for 2 years straight. A
Yeah,
lot of it came down to the fact that we played for a coach that literally we would run through a brick wall for, and like we all just like loved each other. So we're like, all right, let's go. Um,
yeah,
and that stuff matters. You know what I mean? Like now as a coach, right? Like as like an adult, would I coach the same way he does? No, but like, do I aspire to be able to like rally kids around each other and around myself the way he did? Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like you said, that's the dressing room. It's the dressing room you want. It's the team environment that you want. It's the culture that you want, right? Like you want people there that enjoy the game, that enjoy each other, because it's just one like why do you want to be around miserable things? No one wants
yeah,
to like misery. Misery breeds company or whatever, and like you just I
yeah,
don't want any of that. Like if you don't want to be there or anything like that, or your like negativity or toxicity, whatever it is, like nah, like you can go out the door.
yeah. When I blame myself pretty much for the the losses that we had this season at Swifts. Um, I was going through a really bad personal experience personally. My doctors thought I had cancer
Oh man.
for an 8 week period. Um, for 8 weeks, I lived with the thought in my head that I had cancer
Mm.
because when a doctor is worried and he sends you to a big massive cancer specialist cancer hospital,
Right.
you've got it until they tell you haven't. Because Google's horrid.
Yeah, yeah. WebMD, bad place.
Yeah, so for them 8 weeks, I had it, and I was such a horrible person
Yeah.
throughout the 8 week period. Not that I was meant to be. It was because I was so detached from reality. Um, I was just I didn't feel like I was there. I was there, but I didn't feel like I was
Yep.
there. And I wasn't getting involved as much as I should, and I wasn't asking this player how he is, and
Mhm.
and I want you to do this. I want you to. I was pretty much turning up and going through the motions, and oh yeah, we've lost. Yeah, all right, fucking hell, getting up and driving away, and arguing with my assistant, and arguing with coaches, and disagreeing with players, and just I probably caused a little bit of that. Um, what's the word? Negativity
Yeah.
myself, because the players were probably looking at me thinking, "What is going on with this guy?" Because I didn't massively open. What I should have done, I should have sat them all down, which I did at the end. I should have sat everyone down and explained what was going on. Because once I'd done that, I got more training one night and explained everything that had gone on. From my first moment, I felt the lump. To the second, I went to the doctor. Till when they finally told me I was fine, and I explained it to them. And then you know what? You could see in their face, like as if to say, like, "Why didn't you tell me this?"
Yeah.
and from that moment on, we was like a new squad. We was like a new team, and I felt like I had them back. I had them back again.
Yeah.
There was my plan again. And we went and put in some amazing performances, and we're together now. Like we're probably more together now than we've ever been. So it had a detrimental effect at first, but the outcome sort of had a positive effect,
Right.
if you know what I mean. But it cost us probably 4 or 5 games, which is sorry, Mr. Chairman, but
Yeah.
I'll get them back. I'll get
Yeah.
them back.
No, transparent. I think transparency and clarity is a massive thing. I mean, it's a massive
Yeah,
thing in any kind of like setting or relationship or whatever, business, whatever.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
when we're in a when you're coaching or managing, it's a people business. Like at the it's it's less it's almost less of a football business than it is a people business. And
yeah,
if you don't have transparency and clarity, uh, you'll lose. It's like you said, you'll lose the dressing room, and
yeah, yeah,
it's obviously that's a really tough situation that you're dealing with. So I get it. Like I'm very much like, nah, my personal life, I'll keep it to myself. That kind of thing, right? I don't
yeah,
it. It's the same way like you talk about like not taking your personal stuff onto the pitch when you're playing. Like I feel the same way about not taking my personal life onto the training pitch. And so I
yeah,
imagine that's kind of where you sat on that as well. But if
yeah,
it's starting to affect things, like people will notice, and that's when, especially when you're dealing with adults, like you are, like all they need to do is hear that, and they're like, oh, I get it,
yeah. It
like
makes
that,
sense. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
'Cause if I was a player at that point, I would have sacked myself. I would
yeah,
have been like, "What's going on with this geezer? Just get him out of the club. He's bad. He's bad egg. Get
yeah,
him out." He's just got bad vibe. I had bad vibes around me. My vibe was bad. It was like
for sure,
I spoke to a player on the phone. I've since apologised, but I spoke to a player on the phone in a way that I would never speak to a player before in
yeah,
my life. All he asked me was why he isn't playing, and I was like, "Why are you not playing?" Because and I was like, and it was like, "Wow, what the hell was that about?"
yeah,
And I was just on my way home from an MRI scan, but when he called, so
mm,
that didn't help. But you think to yourself, Jesus, I'm asking our players to forget their problems and go out and perform, and I'm bringing this.
right,
You know, who eh, you got. You can't you got to balance things up. You can't. And transparency is the key word. You've just got to go in and once you know it's like if it was like go back to if it was a player going through it, I would probably have gone like, no, he needs to get out, he needs to go, blah blah. But then we've got George Young, who's the coach and my assistant or whatever. He's been obviously been in a management and coaching game a lot longer than I have, so he'd probably be able to see that there's something going on in his life, and
yeah,
he would have probably said, look, Bill, you need to pull him aside, you need to give him a call and speak to him and find out what's going on. And he was the one that pretty much encouraged me to speak openly in front of the group. When I did at training. Um, so who knows? If I never done that, I might probably wouldn't even be at the club now. I'd probably be alienated myself from everyone.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, but it was a. These are the learning things. These are the learning curves you learn in football as you're going along. And luckily, I'm so young into my managerial career. I'm getting it out of the way early.
yeah.
And I'm
That's
learning. You learn every day. You learn every day. So that's a massive learning curve for me. That was.
no, absolutely, absolutely. That's like one of the things that like is hard for like people to understand is like as managers, as coaches, like we're not just like the finished product just because we go and coach a team up on the weekend. Like no, we're learning just as much as like sometimes more than the players that we're coaching. Is like we are figuring out how we interact with different people, how we, tactically what we want to do, like developing
Mm-hmm.
our maybe our philosophies, different things like that. And it's a lot of things. And yeah, it is one of the things that I really do love is like it's nothing's the same every day, and so you get different experiences, you get different lessons each day, and because like I hated school, I was good at it, but I hated it. But
Yeah.
I like learning. I just don't like learning while sitting down in a classroom, right? And so
No.
like it is awesome that like I can just literally do something, be a part of something that I love, that I'm passionate about, and I learn something new basically every day, whether it's about the game, about myself, whatever it is, and it's an absolutely amazing thing that I get to take part in.
Because you coach full time, don't you, for a living? You every day you're there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the dream. Really, I'd like to be in. I'd like obviously if I could be into football full time. That'd be great.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
great.
I coach some very young kids though, but I love it. It doesn't. Never thought I would. Never thought I would love it before I got into it, but I do. I mean, you can even see behind me, like
Yeah.
that's obviously not for my little kids. That's for my older team. Working on some pressing schemes that we're trying to change some things up. My
That looks like the home shirt of one of the teams over here in the league that we've got over here, the Essex Senior League.
Okay.
And they've got their manager on the show on this Saturday, Jason Mayer. It looks like the Saffron Walden um, top. That's the Saffron Walden colours.
There we go.
I
um,
thought you had a Saffron Walden shirt hanging up for a minute.
no, not quite. No. Oh well, the shirt, the jersey is Barcelona, but I actually have here. I guess that's how it goes. But the scarf is from Notre Dame, which is a college here, a big time
Yeah.
university in the
Yeah.
United States.
Well, that looks like red and black. That shirt looks like red and black to my eyes.
Yeah,
Maybe this.
it's just the camera. It's navy and it's actually
Oh,
it's a Neymar Jr. My friend
oh,
she did a study abroad in Spain and they got a tour and so
my eyes are so bad. I can now see the name.
hey, listen, I have awful eyes as well, so don't worry. I totally am
I got
with
my
you.
glasses. I got my glasses here, but
Oh, context. I have yeah, no, I got like 15 vision. Um, it's not good, but yeah, no, that's Barcelona. Not that I'm a massive Barcelona fan, but I'll take a free souvenir, and
yeah,
I
well,
and I
yeah.
I respect them for sure. Um, so something I want to do before we get out of here. For if you've seen the show a little bit, I at the end I like to play a game. I like trivia. I like just kind of games. This time we do a little game called Is It Tactical or Is It Foul? So basically, I'll give you a name, a person, a team, a phrase, whatever, and you just kind of say if it's tactical or if it's foul. So if it's good or if it's bad, and then you can kind of give your explanation as to why, or if it's just that obvious, we can move on.
Now I'm gonna look like a dumbass now.
Nah. It's your opinion. Hey, it's kind of like Twitter. It's just throwing your it's just throwing your opinions out there.
Right, yeah, we did it, yeah.
All right. First one. He's been in the news lately. Mike Dean.
Foul.
Yeah, is that one of those obvious ones? We just
Yeah.
yeah. He's
Not
had
more to say than that.
he's had a rough go at it lately, hasn't he? All right. Next one. This one might you'll probably need some explanation. Regardless, depending on what your answer is. Phil Foden, first name on the England team sheet right now.
100%. Yes. They've got he's an amazing talent, and we've been here before with and what I'm worried about. I tell you what I'm worried about. I know that everyone's been putting out their 11s, their ideal 11 England players, whatever, Mount, Grealish, Foden, Sterling, Madison, Kane, Sancho, all these players that we've got at the minute, Saka. We've got an abundance of talent at the
Yeah.
moment. Do the FA trust Gareth Southgate enough to nurture that talent and turn that pool of players into world beaters? I don't know. Is it the right? Is it the right? People are not talking about this enough, and maybe this will ignite it. But is Gareth Southgate the right man to lead us, to lead these players, and keep them, keep them improving? You
Yeah.
know, is he the right man? I don't know. Or do you go for someone like Pep or someone who's got that winning
That
mentality?
extra bit about him, right?
Yeah. So I don't know.
But Phil
That's,
Foden for you though, first name on the team sheet at the moment.
yeah,
Fair enough.
100%.
All right.
Yeah.
uh, European Super League.
Yes,
Oh.
tactical.
Oh. All right. I'm ready to hear this.
Yeah, I just think it's always been something that's been discussed and then custard pied sort of straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there's always been talk of like Rangers, Celtic. Would they be able to compete in the Premier League?
Right.
I don't think they could. I think they'd be bottom half
Mid-table. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the Premier League. Can the top 3 or 4 teams in League One in French can they compete in the Premier League? I don't know. Can Serie A, can Bundesliga, can the Spanish League? And the only way to find out is to do it. I know the Champions League was set up to try and emulate that,
Right.
or create that. But to have like a Super League where you have, yes, this is the Europe, so it's above the Premier League.
Yeah.
And it's above Serie A, and oh mate, I'm all over that. I'm all over that. Imagine Rangers, Celtic, Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, Madrid. Can you imagine? Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, getting to see those teams basically play each other every week. Yeah, I mean that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it would be fun. No doubt about it. I think obviously.
It'd be a bit hard with a Brexit now. I think that Brexit will probably put paid to it.
Yeah, I think England might have just kicked themselves out of that one.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird how that works. All right, fair enough. All right. Man City to win by more than 10 points. This hurts my heart, obviously.
It's going to happen. Yeah, tactical. It'll happen. I think. It's just. I think that it's. Do you know? Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I actually think we're 9 points behind Liverpool. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Okay.
I think we're in 10th, and we're 9 points behind Liverpool.
Yeah.
At this stage of the season, I would have bit your hand off and your arm and your shoulder if you told me after this amount of games we'd be 9 points behind.
That's fair.
And so I think Man City, yeah, they'll probably win it by 10, but I just think the others below, I think all the way down to 10, from 2 to 10 is pretty much it can go anywhere. It can go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're 5 points. I'm a United fan, obviously. We're 5 points out with a game in hand, so realistically, we're 8 points away from them. So yeah, we had a chance to at least keep it close, and yeah, I'm not sure that's gonna happen now, which is it's a little upsetting. But at the same time, if we finish second, like that's an absolutely great achievement, and it shows real progression. So can't be really that upset.
The thing is with Man City, they go about their business quietly, effectively, don't they? Their fans that don't, on Twitter you get Man United fans pricks, Arsenal fans pricks, Tottenham fans pricks, Chelsea fans pricks. Man City, you don't see the Man City fans being like,
there aren't any.
You know what? I was thinking that. You're probably right. Yeah, there ain't none.
No, there's not. There aren't any. That's it. All right.
Except for Liam Gallagher.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Here is this one's near and dear to my heart because I kind of believe this. This is the only one that, because I don't always believe all the things. It's just like a talking point. But Zlatan Ibrahimovic, underrated.
Overrated for me.
Wow. He just entered the 500 goal club, by the way, at 38 years old.
Yeah, he's not overrated. He doesn't get. Yeah, he's very, very underrated. He doesn't get spoken about nowhere near enough when people are talking about top players in the world ever. I don't think, if you was to say, right, who is your top 5 players ever, would he be in your top 5? If you really, really thought about it, probably, but it wouldn't roll off your tongue like, yep, he was up there. And that's, yeah, so yeah, massively underrated in that context.
And for me, like, I look at it, it's like, you don't even think about it. He has 500 goals now. He's still killing it
That's phenomenal.
Still killing it at up there in age, right? Like he's doing things that most people couldn't even dream to do. And I mean, he's probably the third best player of his generation, and he doesn't get spoken about as if he is that player. Because I mean, look, hey, you're behind Messi and Ronaldo. Like that's not like ever.
Yeah,
In my opinion, everybody that's ever played the game is behind those two. That's my opinion, but like that is what it is. Um,
yeah,
and I think he's probably, he's in the he's at least in the top five of his generation, without a doubt.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
you're right. Like I think he's higher up that list of all time great players than gets spoken about. And it's not a shame, but it's a little bit of a shame that that he doesn't get the kind of the credit that he probably deserves.
yeah, yeah.
So
You're right. Probably because he's a massive dick, isn't he?
I love. He's the greatest interview in sports, in my opinion. The interviews that he's put out, I love. He's the greatest interviews of all time. I mean, some of the stuff that he has said. I
Yeah,
mean, that is peak Zlatan for me. Absolutely. Um, all right. Onana 12-month ban. So the goalkeeper from Ajax.
yeah. That's that is not his fault though, was it? It's Ajax's fault. What did they do?
Uh,
They failed to register him. Or,
well, no, no, no. I'm sorry. Onana is the goalkeeper that got. He got. It was some kind of performance enhancing drug. That's he got. That was that.
no,
What you're talking about.
no,
Yeah, I think was it Holler didn't get didn't.
well, I thought it was him as well. I thought it was Anano as well.
Nope.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know. So then, yeah, and if he's taken any performance in arts drug that is banned, then to be honest, I don't really know what I'm talking about now because I haven't read anything on it, and I don't know, I don't know the situation. But if he has taken a performance enhanced drug that's banned, then yeah, ban him.
And you think that.
Conte, what happened? What happened? Is
Well,
he denying
he.
it or?
Oh no. So I mean, he got banned for. So it's 12 months, so a full year, for testing positive for a doping violation.
Yeah, fine.
All right, fair enough. I didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a full year, but I mean it's probably it's one of those things you don't really can't really go lightly on, can you?
no, exactly. You got to set a precedent. You can't condone that.
I agree with that. Um, reserve games more fun to watch than the prem.
I'm going to agree with that
All right, so it's tactical. All
because
right.
I put a tweet out yesterday, and what I said was that Premier League elite football is becoming like a big game of chess.
Yeah.
They're coaching these players now on, and Mourinho is a prime example of it. And anyone who's watched a session or who knows someone who's watched a session or been involved in a session will tell you that his coaching revolves around what the other team are going to do.
Yeah.
And right. So it'd be like, right, Dyer, what are you going to do? You're going to play a diag into the channel, and the left back is going to head it. So when he heads it, it's going to fall here and it's going to fall here. So Son, you need to be, and it's like, what? Why does it have to go to that
Yeah.
detail? Why has football turned into that? It's turned into so much detail, and then it gives me a headache. It's So I don't know where I'm going here. Where was we going? Yeah, there was So the Premier League. Yeah, so it's turned into like a massive big. It's like the players are just chess pieces.
Yeah.
Right, right, I know this, and you know that when you're playing chess, you're always thinking of what the opposite player's next move's going to be, and you just kind of counteract each other. And I just think that's what it's turned into because you know why? Because it's so much money involved in
Yep.
it now. And I know you might as well. There's a balloon payment as well or something, isn't there, for the Premier League? You get
Yeah.
like a £30 million balloon survival payment or whatever.
Yep.
So finishing 13th, 14th is worse than getting relegated, I think, because I don't know if the prize money for 14th is as much as getting relegated.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it, but
I'm not sure.
there's so much money involved in football now at the elite level. It's all about not losing rather than winning.
Yeah.
So their team. they're setting up their teams to go out and not lose
I
rather
think
than
I
setting.
think we've kind of seen that in like some of these like big six games, right? I mean, like you're an Arsenal fan, like the United Arsenal game, right? Like
Yeah,
neither one to
yeah.
lose. The City United game recently, obviously not the one. Or yeah, well, I'm sorry, the Liverpool United game was a bore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
you
just
get.
think you get teams like Leeds with their coach, and he's got this ethos and philosophy that he drums into his players, and
Ingrained.
no matter what game he's playing or who he's playing, that's the way we play.
Yeah,
So go out and play. And if we
it's fun.
lose 8-4, we lose 8-4. If we win 6-1, we win 6-1. And yeah, and it's entertaining and fair play to them because they're not going to get relegated. They're not. They might not. They're probably not going to win. Well, they won't. They're not going to win the league, but they're not going to get relegated either. So why not just trust your philosophy
Yeah,
and stick with it.
I agree. Nah, I definitely like that for sure. I'm not sure if you saw Roy Keane speak, but he had a quite a, I mean, I mean, he has a lot of funny comments. But what is your thoughts on Liverpool not winning the league for another 30 years?
I would love nothing more. You know what? They're so listen. Liverpool, they're fantastic. They're great,
they're probably
great
gonna win
club.
a they're probably gonna win a
Yeah,
title in the next 30
yeah.
years.
They're a great club. And you know what? When I grew up, when Liverpool were better than they are now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So and that team, Alan Hansen, John Barnes, Ian Rush, that team, that was a proper side.
Right.
They played people off the park. And obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. And that the night we had to go to Anfield and win 2-0 to win the league. That was in '89. That was unbelievable. And I think that was the start of their demise
Yeah.
because they was so used to just going out steamrolling people, and it just hit them hard. It was just a shock to their system. And then obviously Dalglish leaving the club and whatever. But they obviously they had the Hillsborough disaster and things like that. They've had a lot of obviously bad stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, Heisel and but just some of the stuff I hear from some of their fans.
They're the
And
worst.
oh mate,
I'm biased,
and they
but they're the worst.
yeah, I
And
just
we're bad too. Like don't get me wrong. I know United fans are bad. Like I'm not gonna say we're not. But Liverpool fans are the worst for me.
yeah. I think I agree. Look, great club.
Yeah.
Some of the fans absolute rubbish. And we've all got our own group of fans that are complete idiots. And I know we all like, for instance, this season in general, we've all been like, yeah, Man United, boo, Man United, yeah, Man United. And Arsenal, we've been like, yes, Arsenal, boo, Arsenal. And I think everyone, probably apart from Man City, has been in that situation at some point this season
Well, even Man
where,
City was early on. They weren't doing well, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly. Oh, we're going to win a league now. Oh, no, we're not. It's like from one game to the next.
yeah,
It's like highs and lows every week. Tottenham and
reactionary.
Arsenal, it's been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 7 different teams that were going to win the league. Chelsea was going to win. Tottenham was going to win. Liverpool,
Yeah,
United, right?
yeah.
I mean, now City. I mean that shout is probably correct, but it is what it is. Last one, quite a funny one. So was the interaction between Sean Dyche and McGinn, was that tactical or was that foul?
that was brilliant. And you know what? It would be the exact that was. I'll tell you what it was. It was non-league because that would happen in non-league.
Yeah,
Listening to it was just brilliant. And that's the sort of things. That's the sort of things that obviously this show and Cove's grassroots show brings out. Them little stories like that because no one really would have heard about if that sound clip didn't get put on Twitter or put on social media. No one even knows that happened.
yeah,
And them little things like that happen so often, and it's so great that obviously we've got the platforms now that we've got. You can expose that. But yeah, I just think it was genius. I just think that was complete genius, and it was just genius. Dice just didn't know what to do, did he? He's like,
nah,
oh,
good
he
for
might
him.
as well just Should have just took his coat off and handed it to him.
Honestly, yeah, you got to retire that thing now. McGinn was quick with it. That was
Yeah,
the.
yeah,
I mean, McGinn's a good player, but like that's the most I've ever respected McGinn for sure.
yeah.
That was so
That's
quick.
that, you know when they've got banter when they roll it off just like that.
Hundred
That is
percent.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
He's the guy that no one really goes at because they're like, nah, he's gonna ruin my life. I'm gonna leave that guy alone.
You turn around and like, oh, yeah, sorry, man.
My bad. Um, Billy, this has
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. Before we get out of here, what I want to do, I want to give you a chance to plug all the things that you have going on and say any last words that you have.
Yes, I'd like to plug Bishop Stortford Swifts. Please give them a follow at Stortford Swifts. Um, give Clint Ford a follow on Roots TV. Um, check out the hashtag Covey's Grassroots Show. And just keep enjoying football. Really, just follow my people. Look at my Twitter, Covey_10, and follow everyone that I'm following because they're all great people.
Awesome.
And follow this show, retweet this show, and support what you're doing. And I appreciate you asking me to come on. I appreciate the shouts out about the show. Um, thank you so much. It's been an honor to come on again. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been my pleasure, without a doubt. All of those links will be down below for sure. Definitely go give him a follow. Go give, like he said, go give Roots TV a follow. Stortford, all those things. Stortford Swifts, excuse me, because I know there's two. We make sure we get the right one.
Yeah.
Give all those things a follow for sure. And like you said, just keep enjoying football. And really get involved in the interactions, the conversations, the discussions that are on Twitter and wherever else. It's one of the best things about the game. So thanks so much again, Billy. This has been Tactical Foul. I'm Kyle Grew, Billy Cove. Until next time, guys. Peace. Bye.